I have my lady fingers here, and depending on the size of the lady fingers, you will use anywhere between 16 and 24, and you'll notice what I did was just cut the flat side off of one side of the lady finger, so this will sit upright, like a charlotte in your tart pan, and I want it to sit flat. I just use a serrated knife, and it cuts easily without breaking the lady finger. So we have that, and I want to show you my cake layer. So to make this a torte as opposed to a traditional tiramisu, which is just the cream and the lady fingers, I took my golden vanilla cake recipe. You'll find the video right here on the channel. Just look up golden vanilla cake. It's from my spring favorite series. I top it with a fudge frosting. Different topic for a different day. But what you can do is make your cake layers. The recipe makes 3 8-inch cake layers. You can freeze the other 2, so that way you have that for a birthday cake later on. You just need 1 8-inch layer. And then you cut that in half horizontally, and those are going to be the cake layers in this tiramisu torte. I'm very specific. I want you to make the 8-inch layer so you have space building your torte in a 9-inch springform pan. So now, in the time that I've assembled all this and talked about it, my sabayon has cooled enough that I can add it to my base. Though you will see, again, it depends on the brand of mascarpone cheese you use. Some are very thick, some are rather soft. You may find that your base, it turns a little fluid once you start stirring it, but that's because you're disturbing it, moving the cheese around. Once this gets put into your torte and has a chance to chill, it sets up beautifully. But it makes it easy to handle and easy to assemble. So we've already worked in the brandy and the vanilla into this cream layer. Oh, it's so decadent. Making that sabayon, there are lots of cheater tiramisu recipes. You just whip cream cheese and add a couple of flavoring ingredients to it. But going through this process, especially for a grand holiday dessert, and make the sabayon, it just adds that level of richness and complexity, and it slices beautifully. So there we go. That is ready. Now we're all set to assemble. So I've got my pan, and the first thing I do is put 1 cake layer down in the bottom, and you can see how there's space around it because that's where the lady fingers go. So you put the cake in first, and it just holds the lady fingers up. These are a traditional size of Savoiardi ladyfinger biscuits. I do have a recipe for ladyfinger biscuits on this channel. I'll leave that up to you if you want to prepare them. It depends how close to the holidays it is and how much time you actually have. I don't know if you do that, but I always make my ambitious holiday wish list early in December, all the things I'd like to make. And then sometimes you don't get to all of them all at once. There we go. So nestled close together. And you'll notice I'm not dipping these fingers because as the torte sits over time, all that moisture in the center will soften the lady fingers, but they won't fall apart. So that's why I'm not soaking them right now. And now what I need to do is brush a generous amount of this coffee syrup. This is how we're integrating the coffee flavor into the tiramisu torte, by soaking the cake layers and nothing else. Almost half of the syrup goes on to the cake layer. Really give it a chance to soak in, not just a little bit. This cake can take it. Oh, and I can smell that coffee. I'm sure you bakers have heard that tiramisu translates to mean pick-me-up. It's that little bit of coffee with the sweet treat after a big, rich holiday dinner. Nothing like a big, rich holiday dessert. Hey, it's the holidays. It's what we do, right? This also transports well. So if you're in charge of bringing dessert to someone else's house, so long as you can keep it cold, it is not a fragile, delicate cake. So lots of syrup, now half of this cream gets spread over the cake. But typical to how you would do a tiramisu in a pan, you would put the ladyfingers down, half the filling, another layer of ladyfingers, and then the other half of the filling. Spread that. Now this will help secure those ladyfingers even more. Put the cream in there. You don't have to worry about being fussy, perfectly leveling this filling. It's not buttercream after all, because you're going to put the second half of the cake goes right on top. And another good, and that presses everything in place. Another good brushing of the coffee syrup on the cake. So while I'm doing this, let's talk about the make-ahead components. Fully make your cake layers, pop them in the freezer. If you really want to get ahead, just thaw your cake layer on the counter before you want to assemble. The mascarpone cream you'll make right before you want to assemble the torte, but this torte can be assembled, a good 2 days ahead. You just wait on the whipped cream, the final whipped cream topping, until the day you want to serve it. Lots of coffee. Go. Now, the remaining cream. I realized I forgot to put chocolate on my first layer of cream. I'll get the chocolate in now. Chocolate is just an accent. It shouldn't dominate the flavor of a tiramisu anyhow. It's really, even more than the coffee, it's about the cream first, then the hint of coffee, then a hint of chocolate. So imagine I grated a little chocolate over top of that first layer of cream, because I'm going to do that now to this layer of cream, like so. So just take a good quality bar of chocolate, dark chocolate, and grate a nice little layer. You don't want to bite into pieces of chocolate in a tiramisu. You want a hint of it. If you want to make something a little more adult and stronger, you could do a dusting of cocoa powder. Just remember, cocoa powder is unsweetened, so it has a bitterness to it, as does coffee. All right. So if I was making this torte ahead of time, I would loosely cover it and put it in the fridge overnight. You could even make it 2 days ahead if you wanted to. I don't recommend freezing it, because then actually the liquids and the syrup inside would soak too much, and I think you would find it ends up thawing a bit sticky. So prepare it fresh, but up to 2 days ahead. Then the day you wish to serve it, you've got your whipped cream. So I've added my little bit of vanilla and sugar already to this. And this goes on top. Get a clean spatula. You could stop at the mascarpone layer if you wanted to, but this is traditional to tiramisu, that final whipped cream layer. Because when you cut into it, it is a different texture. The mascarpone layer, the cheese itself sets up. So it's while still airy and light, it's still has a different flavor and texture profile than just regular whipped cream. And then the finishing touch, a little more chocolate. And I do try and keep it in the pan. Just simply, you know how it is at holiday time. You've got lots of food coming and going, in and out of the fridge, lots of people in and out of the fridge. In order to protect the torte, keep it in its pan until you're ready to unmold it, and it does slide out easily. You'll notice I didn't have to line the cake with parchment paper or the pan with parchment paper. That just ends up being harder to take off. This slides off the base of the pan easily because you have the cake layer at the bottom. There, that looks absolutely gorgeous. I'm so happy about this. So this, I'm ready to pop in the fridge, but so that I could slice into one, I've already got one ready to go here. So this I made yesterday. So it's had a chance to set. Those lady fingers are softening just a little, but they're not losing their structure at all. And all the complexity, all the work has happened ahead of time. So there's nothing more you have to do to it other than wait for congratulations. I'm sure you're doing an assortment of fantastic desserts. And I always love hearing from you. So let me know, maybe you'll add this to your dessert list over the holiday season. It would be great for New Year's, wouldn't it? But you could let me know what else you're making, because that is how I take inspiration. Or if you have questions of other traditional holiday desserts you'd love to see, I'd love to hear from you. So let me give this a little slice. Doing a more modest piece last time. I think the last cake I made, I did a gigantic portion. And you can see those layers. Let me cut a second slice, just so you can see inside the cake better. So you can see it's light and airy, just like tiramisu should be. And ooh, a little push from there. And there's the inside of the cake. And these gorgeous slices with the coffee-soaked cake layers, the lady fingers on the outside, that beautiful mascarpone cream, the whipped cream on top. It is tiramisu in tort form. How perfect. Now I've got you set with another recipe for the holiday season. I love doing these bake-alongs so you can see in real time how to assemble one of these desserts. I invite you to join me, Annette, again. Let me try that again. I invite you to join me again for another bake-along recipe. I've got lots more planned. I'll see you again soon. In the meantime, happy holiday baking season. That golden vanilla cake recipe really does suit this tort. It's just the right texture. There's that hint of coffee, hint of chocolate. How is it that something